キカキいただきます。オール様おいしい。
どういたしまして。
びっくりしました。びっくりしました。よ
Hello everyone, it's good to see you all again. Okay, let's get things started. How's it all going? Okay. Okay, basically what I'm gonna do here today is that I'm just gonna go through everything. I'm just gonna break down the video, and hopefully I don't end up boring you. I'll try my best to keep things interesting, but yeah, there's a lot to go through, and there's a lot that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, if you guys will join me, thank you guys. Your voice startled me when I'm just vibing to the music. Well, thank you for dropping by anyways, and yeah, okay, let's do this. Okay, so first I'm just gonna start off talking about you probably won't bore me, I'm really interested. That's good. Yeah. Yo, a face cam. Yay. Yeah, good to see you guys. Okay, I'm going to basically, I'm not going to talk about everything. I'm also just going to talk about my general process. I'm just going to talk about some of the stuff that happens, my story when making this video, and I'll try my best to keep things like concise, like just generally as a general thing. And some interesting stories that happened while I was doing it that, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the script, and this is the first draft. So, okay, as you can probably see, it's a bit of a mess. And at the beginning and end of the script, there are a bunch of lines that I couldn't figure out how to integrate into the video coherently, or they were just redundant. So whenever I'm doing that, I'm going through writing the script, I just go, this one doesn't work, just cut and paste that, move it away, because for all I know, I could end up using it again later, which happens a lot. So yeah, for this, I use OneNote, and that's so that I can sync it between my computer and my phone, so that I can basically write it anywhere. So basically, I could just like walk around outside while typing my script, because like, you know, being stuck in this room waiting for this, writing this for hours on end, it's a miserable experience. So like, it's just mostly for convenience, so I can just type wherever I go. And even when I'm in bed and stuff and inspiration suddenly strikes at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I just type out whatever I need to type out, and then I go to sleep. So yeah, the script is the most important part to me, so I always end up spending as much time writing it as I do with like the actual production and editing and stuff. So yeah, it's probably way longer than most people, but yeah, again, it's very important to me. So okay, how I go about this is that from the beginning, I've already worked out a general kind of structure in my head. And obviously things are going to change along the way, but there's still a plan. So after that, I go ahead and make an outline. Where is it? This is still, yeah, I'd make a general outline just like that. And just to categorize all my different thoughts into an outline that will actually cover everything. And then after that, I go into the intro. Oh, okay, sorry. I want to go back through a couple things here. So yeah, you notice that there are a lot of lines that are crossed out here because obviously this is a mess right now. So generally this is because I'm like rewriting the same paragraph multiple times, and because I feel like it didn't get the point across in a clear and concise way, or like certain lines that I thought sounded clever, but they don't naturally actually fit into the script anywhere. So it's like, I just cross it out or something, or cut and paste it to a different section. So obviously it's a bit of a mess, but that's okay since it's just the first draft. There's a lot of reshuffling and reorganizing, and yeah, I'm just trying to basically get complex ideas in my head and trying to make sure that it sounds at least somewhat understandable. And the main point of all this is to basically get a flow, to make sure it all fits together like a jigsaw puzzle and is actually watchable instead of just being a random jumble of all my disorganized thoughts. I can't, yeah, because like I can't just have it be talking about one thing only to suddenly insert a random irrelevant sentence and then go back to what I was talking about before, because that'd be confusing. So, okay. When I get started, I start off with the intro. And that is the hardest part of the entire video. Why? Because that's the part that determines... Teacher, the essay needs to be 10,000 words, Brandon. Alright, 100,000. Got it. Okay, but basically... Yeah. The intro is the hardest part, because that's the part that determines whether someone's going to watch the rest of the video or not. So it needs to hook you while being as clear and not confusing as possible. And as you could probably tell by now, being not confusing isn't exactly my strong suit. And it's way easier also to write something when you've got some kind of momentum. And like, you've already in the process of writing it, and in the middle of everything, and you've already got that flow. That's the easy part. But when you've got just a blank page when you're starting out and you have no idea what to do at the time, it's kind of the hardest part, and you have to make it good. So what I do is that I end up writing several different intros until I land on something that works. Sometimes they're rewrites of the same paragraph, sometimes they're based on a totally different idea, but throughout writing, it's a constant process of, right, does this work? If not, I figure out how to make it work. And if it works, I continue. And if it doesn't, I either just cross it out or I end up going back and using it later, which happens a lot. Or I just cut and paste it to the bottom of the page. And I just keep doing that throughout the whole thing until I get all my thoughts out, while trying my best to make sure that the pacing is good, that it's consistent, that it doesn't stagnate in certain sections for too long, and that it's entertaining and interesting overall, that it's got a good amount of jokes as well. So like, if it's emotional in the parts that you want it to be emotional, if it's funny during the parts where you want it to be funny. And I also try, I'm not going to go through all the different aspects of this script once again, because it is huge. But generally near the end, I try to make things a little bit more sentimental or emotional, since I feel like that's kind of the part that sticks with people the most. And generally, obviously, the end result seems a lot more simple than this, but that's kind of what I'm going for, since like all the messy production stuff kind of needs to be invisible. It needs to flow smoothly so that people can simply watch it casually and understand it easily. So, there are a few things that I want to talk about later, like the erased rewrite, like the actual rewrite for that section, but I'm going to talk about that during the editing. So basically, after I finish writing the first draft, I copy and paste it to a new one. So this is a lot cleaner. I just delete everything that's not relevant to the main parts that I'm going to use at the end. And I just delete all the clutter, copy and paste it all into this new document, and I've cleaned it up. And this is the version that I'm going to be using while I'm recording. And you'll notice that there's a few parts where I've highlighted certain things. Those are the parts that I originally planned to be live action stuff. So it's like, this is the parts that I film with my face on camera. These are the parts that I film on just voiceover, because obviously it'd be a bit much for me to film the entire thing with my face. So I gotta organize that since it's so huge. Yes, I'm gonna go through the editing as well. This is just the script. It's probably the most boring part to talk about, if I'm being honest, because it's just a wall of text to look at. But yeah, honestly, when I'm writing it, it's just the process of, is this interesting and is this making a point, essentially. And I just keep doing that until I feel like I've gotten across the point that I want to get across. So I've got this final version. It's still very huge, but it's a lot cleaner, and there's a few different highlighted sections just for organization. I end up crossing out something anyways, but that happened way later because of some stuff that happened during production. So after I've done all that, I record it, and using the microphone and stuff. So I live with my family, with 2 younger siblings. They are very noisy. Now, it's really interesting seeing the entire process you go through with each video. Thank you. Okay, so like, basically, I live with my family and 2 younger siblings. So whenever I need to record, I basically ask them really nicely if they could stay quiet. and I then go to the end of the house to record everything. Sometimes they're out, like the kids would be at school and stuff, but like sometimes I can't rely on that. Like this time, they were not at school, it was the holidays. So whenever they're out, I take the chance to record then. Either that or I just record at the middle of the night or early in the morning, whichever works. So long as, you know, people aren't being noisy and stuff, because like that's just what you have to deal with when you're living with family. Sometimes the result just sucks, so I'm not in the mood to bring the level of the energy that the video needs while I'm reading the lines, and it just isn't working, so I'd have to just stop and try again a bit later when I'm in the right mood. This sucks sometimes because like I'd be like, oh, this is the perfect time physically because like nobody's in the house, but like when I actually try recording it, it just sounds terrible. So I need to find a different time. And the time when I'm really in the mood for recording, that's when everyone's in the house and walking about and being noisy, and I need to ask them to be quiet. And it's a bit inconvenient, but in the end, I still managed to get it done. It just takes a couple days. So I usually record in batches, because like even in regular sized videos, not just this video, I record everything. I basically do one recording session, and that might cover like the first section of the video, and the next the second, and so on, and I just keep doing that until I've gone through the entire script. Yeah, it is annoying. But yeah, I just end up recording the sections. Like usually it's supposed to be like, oh, for the first session, I record the first section, and the next, the second, and so on. But like, it ends up really being just like, I record as much as I can within that recording session until I get tired. And so usually I just end up stopping at a random point in the middle of a section. But yeah, I do end up getting it through all of it in the end. And when I'm done, I load everything up into the editing software. So now, this part is by far the worst part for me. I don't know if any other content creators who happen to be watching this would also relate. Maybe it's easier for them. I just know that this is by far the the worst part in my opinion to go through, and it's the audio cutting. What editing software do you use? I use DaVinci Resolve. A lot of people use Premiere Pro, which I also used to use, but I really like DaVinci Resolve. Hi everyone, hey bike rider. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is great. I much prefer it to Premiere personally, and I really love it. But basically, okay, the part, next part is audio cutting, and this part, I call it the dark abyss a little bit, because it's like, it is by far the most excruciatingly boring part of the entire process. And it's basically going through the mind-numbing process of going through several hours worth of raw audio and needing to cut out the parts that I'm actually going to use. Oh yeah, I tried to use it before. I'm really new to editing, so I couldn't really use it. And Resolve is free too. Yeah, exactly. Resolve is free, but yeah, it is very professional software as well. So for, you know, newer people who are just getting into editing, I probably recommend programs like HitFilm or Shotcut. And if you use a Mac, then probably something like iMovie. That's actually what I first learned editing on. And they're all really good programs and very beginner friendly, in my opinion. So, going back to what I was saying before, let me just show you this. This is about 6 hours worth of raw audio. So you can imagine why I would hate this part so much, because it's essentially just me going through all of the audio and just going, is this part good? Yes, I cut that out. Is this part good? No, and then I leave it. And I just need to manually watch through all of it, choose the parts that I might want to use, and for essentially 6 hours straight. And this is made more difficult by the fact that a lot of these lines can be very difficult to pronounce thanks to my writing style, like to just pronounce it in the way that I'm intending it to. So there's a lot of stuttering and faltering when I'm saying the lines. I try to say the line and I fail, and then I keep trying over and over again until I get it right. because it's like some of these lines are actually really complicated to pronounce. Like they're very long and they need to be snappy. So and now editor me needs to now sit through all of this, searching for the times that I do say it right, all the way until the end. So 6 hours, and like when I'm actually recording it, when I'm actually going through all this, I can't just sit down and do it all, do a lot in one section, because it is so easy to get tired from that because it's so repetitive. But I might get also a lot of different takes that all sound good for different reasons. So I get all of them so that I can compare them side by side and choose which one's the best later. Or none of them sound good and I need to end up re-recording that line, which happens quite commonly. So like in here, you'll probably see a bunch of extras, and I just named them all, and it's like those are just different audio clips of me re-recording a bunch of different lines for various different reasons. Do you get annoyed listening to your own voice for so long? Asking because I really hate hearing my own voice. Yes, I do, especially at the beginning. And that's mostly because, like, I don't know, I'm not as used to it at the time. It got more tolerable later on as I continued doing that, and I just eventually got used to it. But when you first start making videos, that's the worst part, because you just hate your own voice. It's like, and it's hard to tell whether this is annoying to other people or just for yourself. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of these files, since once I've gone through, and including the live action footage, because there's a lot of live action footage there as well. For example, this one, which I just, I recorded it and thought, yeah, it's fine. But then I actually looked at it, I looked at it in editing and thought, God, this looks terrible. I look terrible. The way I'm saying the lines look terrible. So I had to just end up not using any of it. Because it just, yeah, same thing with this part. Like, there was this entire section is just like, nah, this isn't working. I can't put this in. And, but there are certain sections, like here as well, the live action, which I did put in, depending on the part. And I cut through all of that as well, and select all the parts. So basically, it's just going through and going, oh, I like that line. I'm going to cut that and drag it up. I don't like that. I skip through it. But it's obviously, I'm gonna need it. It's just watching through all of it. So, and I go, I like that part, drag it up. And then I go, nah, none of this part is good. And then I'd skip through all of that. And basically, I just did that for all of this live action footage. All the different skits as well. They're not color graded yet, so none of them look good. And all the raw audio. So, I don't know, I think about 8 hours of stuff here, I think. It says 10 hours, but that's because I had to make space between them. Then, when all that's done, I copy all that and paste it to a new timeline, and I basically just put it all together. So this is the part where I decide which takes I'm going to use. I also color code everything by the different sections, because if I didn't, it would get really overwhelming really quickly, because there's just so much there, like, and it's hard to differentiate which parts are which. So I color code everything. This is obviously easier, something that's more necessary with longer videos, might not be as necessary with shorter videos, but obviously since this was going to be an hour long, I wasn't planning for it to be an hour long. I was only planning for it to be about 30 minutes. But yeah, when it's this long, I'm coding everything, is basically a necessity. So I'd decide which takes to use, and it's just essentially a process of going, do I like this take or do I like this take? I don't like that take, so I'm going to drag that down and I'm going to move that part next to it. And then I'm just going to listen to how the lines sound when they're next to each other, making sure the timing's right, and I just keep doing that for all of it. When that's sometimes I might realize that different parts of this sentence just doesn't mesh well with each other, so I need to re-record that part again, but that's pretty rare here. So when that's done, the main base of the video is finally finished. All of this is just all of the different clips together now. I want to make video tutorials about programming. This is very helpful. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is, yeah, it's mostly just, I usually position themselves, okay, I usually arrange it like this. So on 2 video layers, because there's sometimes a bit of an overlap, or sometimes there's a bit of a space. So it's just so that they, are able to overlap or have that right space and be able to time it right for all of it. And it just makes things a bit easier, because if they're physically together like this, then like sometimes it's like it's just stop, one line might cut off abruptly. So if I do it like this, when they do overlap, it's a bit smoother. Do you animate? Kind of. I animate images, which is a bit different than animating like hand-drawn or 3D and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get to that very, very soon. But it's usually just the process of like moving the images around or moving different things around with the text and stuff. So that's animation, but not quite the animation that you're probably thinking about. I'm not an expert at everything. I'm not an animator just yet. So when that's done, the main base of the video is finally finished. It's all just the laid out audio of me talking. It's going to basically serve as the main basis for all of my editing decisions from now on. And then I put it all into a new timeline again. And this, let's let it load. Oh, okay, this. This is the main bulk of the real editing. I know it looks kind of overwhelming right now at first. But it's actually quite simple. So I'm just going to simplify a lot of this. Do you want to get into modeling? Not particularly. I'm not a 3D animator, but if I do want to get into animation, I'd probably want to do 2D stuff because I like hand-drawn animation. And like if there is 3D stuff, then I'd probably get other people who are experts at that and get them to do that for me, which is actually what happened here. So this is the good part. Since I'm finally making the video, even though the majority of the work was done before this, because now that I've already gone through that excruciating process of making the main basis for everything, I can finally get to the fun part. I like your headset. Thank you. This is I really like this one. This is an Audio-Technica ATH M50X. Yeah, so basically this is the part where I can really have fun and experiment with certain things. And the intro, I actually outsourced. I got it done by a friend, and his channel name is Awdii, with AWDII. And I did this because I knew that like a bunch of my friends are able to do these really cool animations with their graphics and stuff. Yeah, thank you. Damn, I want to get into editing. You look like you're really good at it. Thank you. I've been editing for a while, but honestly, this probably makes it look more complicated than it is. Some parts are a bit complicated, but like it's just something that you learn through practice and experience. But for this first part, I didn't do any of it aside from just the voiceover and choosing the music. And I basically got my friend and Awdii and said, hey, do you think you'd be able to, you know, animate this section of the intro? Since I wanted this part to be really good. I wanted it to be really high quality, and I knew he was able to do that. I was willing to pay him as well, but he actually ended up just going, nah, bro, it's cool. I'll just do it. I'll just do it for free. And I was like, wait, you're serious? And he just went, yeah, I'll just do it. And he wanted more experience under his belt and stuff, and he wanted to be able to like have that in his portfolio. So I went, you know, sure, go ahead. I left most of it up to him. And up to him, like, what he was going to do. The only part that I actually, like, specified how I wanted it to look was this part near the end of the intro with the 4 televisions. So I just went, hey, I want it to basically show, like, 4 different screens, and each corresponding with the different part that I say, and it moves to a different part, and then at the end, it zooms out. And he did that spectacularly. I didn't expect him to make it look like, get actual 3D models of televisions. I was just assuming he'd get like the screen, just a flat screen with a little bit of glitch effect or something, and that was it. But nah, he went all out, and it looks amazing. I couldn't be happier with how he did it. So, yeah, okay. The next part is me. The rest of the video was edited by me pretty much. And not gonna lie, it's a bit similar to writing the script when I'm editing it. So, once again, the beginning is the hardest part. Oh, hi, the Golden Eye Gamer. Good to see you. So basically, the beginning is the hardest part. Similar, just like the script, because you're basically, it's just blank, and you've got to build off of that. But thankfully, this time it's a bit easier since you do have the audio. I'm sorry, I can't remember a lot of your Raise video, except that it was quite well made and that you brought up some decent points. That's okay. If there's anything here that I feel like, I'll try and explain whatever is there, so even if you're watching it out of context, you'll be able to understand it. So, basically, I just, it's just really just a process of, yeah, okay, the beginning is the hardest part. Oh, I watched in 2x speed right before this. That's alright, you do you. But yeah, the beginning is the hardest part since, again, it needs to be the most interesting, but at this point, you haven't quite found your momentum yet while you're editing everything. So, I just need to keep building off of that and just continue on, basically. I just need to find whatever works and just build off of that. And it's a lot of it's just a process of trial and error. I try and do this thing. Does it work? Does it not? And if it does work, then I'll continue. And if it doesn't work, then I'll have to just try and figure out something that does work. Or just scrap it completely and try something else. But yeah, a lot of this is, it's a bit like a dance. When you're adding the visuals and the music to the voiceover now, because everything needs to complement each other. All the different clips that are being shown needs to be relating to what I'm saying. All the music needs to set the mood. And a lot of it's just me going, okay, I'm going to scroll through a bunch of different music options until I land on something that's good, and I keep doing that throughout the rest of the video. Which again can take quite some time. But for the visuals, a lot of it's making sure that it's visually interesting, that there's a lot of movement in each of the clips, but it's still clear and understandable. Because the main thing that I'm going for here is that it's understandable and easy to follow along with, unlike this live stream. I'm kind of over the place right now, but that's okay. If there isn't enough movement in each of the visuals, like it might be a bit of a still shot, like what's a different part? Like for example, this part, if there isn't enough movement, I'd animate a bit of a zoom there myself and add in the black bars myself manually, so that it's like, it doesn't look like it's actually moving in. I'd have the black bars there and it stays consistent, so it looks like it's part of the show. And a lot of this is just so that it's not distracting to the audience, so that it's not actually making us distracted and going, oh, what about this? What about that? It just needs to be seamless. So I'd add sound effects as well, and the music, obviously. Basically improving the show. No, just making it work within the context of this video, basically, to make it like it, you know, cinematic, make sure it looks professional or whatever when I need it to look professional. And trying something, yeah. And you don't want it to stick out too much so that it detracts from the main message in any way, or it distracts from it. And it needs to feel like it belongs there, so like you don't even think about it while you're watching it. It's just a part of the video, essentially. And every decision I make is basically there to support that, to support what the main message of the video is about. So at the end, you could just like put the video on in the background and watch it casually or whatever, or like if you want to watch it properly, then whatever, so long as people, you know, are watching it and the entire experience is a smooth one. And I also really like the I also really like the soundtrack from Searching, so I used a lot of that here. A lot of mystery type music, which fits really well with the voiceover and narration. I really like that. So, after scrolling through a bunch of here, added a bunch of text. I'm gonna go through all of that. There's a lot. Just the process of, does this work? Yep. Keep going. Making sure that the cuts are correctly timed and that it moves on from each different part. Sometimes I might add little things like, you know, this thing, just to make things visually interesting and it supports what I'm trying to say. Oh, damn, my Wi-Fi sucks. This stream is really delayed for me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll just, yeah. It's okay, just comment whatever you need to, and I can answer it if you have any questions. If anyone is confused about anything, or if I'm going too fast, then just ask something, because I don't know. I'm just gonna go through everything that I want to talk about. So, then there's Raid Shadow Legends. It's going well, okay, thank you. Okay, now, next part is Raid Shadow Legends. I have editing this section was quite a bit of a journey, to be honest. I don't think it's very easy to just like kind of ignore and stuff because it's just a sponsor segment. But okay, something that I should probably mention is that when I was making this video, I had a deadline to meet. Because like that's what you do when you're talking to sponsors. You gotta go, hey, what's the exact date you're gonna release this video? And I gotta go, okay, I choose this date. So at this point, I'm under a time crunch. So I got one of my editor friends to help me edit this section because I thought, you know, it's okay. He's it was paid work, don't worry. So I made sure to pay him for the work. But at the same time, it was a bit of a mistake since I came to realize that editing for this section was really, really hard. Because like comedy is already difficult enough to edit as it is. You basically, like, even more so than the serious moments. With serious moments, it's like you can be a bit more loose with it, but with comedy, you gotta get the timing exactly right, or like it can just basically make the entire joke fail. It could be the same joke, the same voiceover, but get the timing wrong, and the joke is just gonna suck. It's just going to fail very, very hard. And since that especially applies to me, since my style of humor is fairly weird, and if you mucked up the timing here, then the joke is going to fail terribly. Okay, and that's kind of what happened here. When he got back to me with his edit, it was just kind of awkward with a lot of the jokes. They failed. The pacing wasn't what I was going for, and the music didn't fit either, which was also partly my fault, since Raid provided a bunch of music, and I told him to use that, and it just sucked. The music sucked. It sounded very generic and didn't work with the comedy at all. So it wasn't really his fault. He's a good editor. He's not a bad editor, but I should have edited this myself from the start, since I was the only one who actually knew what I was going for with these jokes. And they needed to be executed in a very specific way in order to work. So I got him to send me the project file for what he did, but there was a bit of a problem. He uses Premiere Pro while I use DaVinci Resolve. It's like no biggie. There's a format you can export into that both programs accept. So I just got him to do that. And he did it. And I will spare you the pain of the entire process of what happened, but it did not convert well. I spent ages trying to figure out what went wrong, but after a lot of technical issues, Googling, and headaches, I finally got it to work. But all the effects were gone. So since I was going to have to re-edit everything anyways, I basically reconstructed the entire edit using the base clips that he had already used. So there was a lot of shuffling around using this part for that, making sure the characters' expressions were matching up with my stupid voice acting. And I was actually very thankful that he basically like hunted for all the different clips that we were going to use. So I didn't need to go through the entire show and find those clips for myself. So like all the different facial expressions that they were making that matches up with what I'm saying, and making sure the lip sync matches up and stuff. a lot of that was because of him, and I just changed which clips there were sometimes. I did a little bit of hunting myself, but it wasn't as much as I would usually. So, but in the end, this still ended up being the most time-consuming part of making this video out of all the sections by far. I unfortunately also had to talk to the sponsor and delay the video, since there was no way I was going to get it done on time at this point, even if I had already finished the ad segment, since there was just so much more after this that needed to be due, and I underestimated how much work this project was going to take. But I did have fun with it, since I think during this ad section, I made some of the most creative edits that I have ever made in a very long while, and many of them being thanks to my friends' help and ideas. So like some of them, like the box, if the program will load it. So like that box, that was an asset he originally used. I just repurposed it and executed it a little bit differently, and cleaned things up a bit, so it's like it actually like looks understandable. It was a bit messy before, but I did have a lot of fun with this, and I did a lot of fun stuff. This part with the floating head was actually just let's see. That's just a green screen. That was just me going into the art program, making it green, and then I just went move the entire screen around while screen recording, and then I just keyed it out and put it over this, and there you go. She's got a wobbly head just moving around like that. And it was just so difficult to find different sections of the show that would actually like match up with what I was doing with this skit, but it worked out in the end. And yeah, okay, so I've gone through like basically all of the edit, and it's finally done, so I can move on to the rest of the video, right? But a few days later, I'm a bit further along into the video, somewhere around here or something, and then Raid gets back to me saying that I need to change it. So they had updated the brief, and the promotion was changed, and because, like, you know, obviously I had to delay it, and now there's a different promotion going on, so I can't really complain. That's my fault, and now there's a different promotion going on, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. So I'm just grateful that the sponsor is still cool with working with me at this point. So I record the parts for the new promotion and re-edit from scratch, basically the last third of it, because that's where a lot of the promotion stuff was happening. So like basically like this section of it, and I just quickly re-recorded that parts for the new promotion, re-edited it from scratch, basically the last third of the ad, and I finally get it done, and now I can finally move on to the rest of the video again. I still thought the original cut was a bit funnier, since there's a bunch of funny edits that I did that you know, had more of a build up to how everything was collapsing and like falling apart, but you know, whatever, it's done. So I still ended up going back to that segment a couple times for editing the rest of the video to fix different parts of it, because I just wasn't satisfied with it. Like different ways I delivered the voice lines at the end, like I'd say certain lines like completely differently, and I was like, nah, this isn't funny, I'm just gonna have to replace it with something else. But whatever, at the end the sponsor approved it and it was good to go. So honestly, I'm just thankful that they even approved the idea in the first place, since it's so ridiculous, and they just didn't even question it. Like they just went, hey, can you take out this one line? Thanks. And that was basically it. So the manager lady I was talking to was actually very easy to work with, which was very nice. So, but yeah, this was like, in the end, this was still super fun to edit, and I got to try a bunch of creative things. Like this part, you can see, I want to make it so you can see it properly. Whatever. Like this part with the head, I just got, hey, I found a clip from the show, and I was like, hey, this fits perfectly. So I just basically traced around his head, copy and pasted that to a new layer, and then put the video file underneath it with the ad. And but since the video file itself in the show was already moving, I had to move it along with it really precisely so it matches up with it. Dang, I'm surprised that you would have had fun doing that. Sounds hard. Oh, it was hard, but it was still fun. Because, like, honestly, I'd much rather take doing something that's creative and hard over doing something that's mind-numbing and boring for extended periods of time, which is why, to me, going through all that audio is by far the worst part. Because here, I can just get creative and stuff, and I go, oh, I'll try this, and I'll try that. And that's fun to me. Like, obviously it's still hard, but it's also kind of fulfilling, you know? So, yeah, moving on. I'll move on from the Raid Shadow Legends, but like, by far, this was probably the most, one of the most time-consuming parts of this entire video, purely because of how many re-edits that I needed to do for all of it. It would have been so much more simple if I just edited it myself from the start, but, you know, Brandon is a masochist. Maybe I am Notaku, maybe I am. It's more about being proud of a good work. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, obviously, like, it's, you need to work hard while you're doing it, but, like, when you zoom out and, like, see everything that you just did, it's satisfying. And, like, I just really enjoy that feeling, you know, being proud of something that you made. Great video, by the way. Thank you. So, yeah, I had some fun with it, especially with some of the, like, I'm not totally sure what I was doing with the glitchy parts near the end. I just had the mom start melting. And that was a part that I was planning from the start, but like I had a bit more of a build up to it as well. I ended up adding some glitches and stuff beforehand. It was better than the original cut for this, but it was still there. But it was so fun just going into Affinity Photo, Photoshop, and just going, okay, I'm gonna get the image and just droop it down and make her melt. And just make my voice sound demented. Hey Brandon, can you show how you do text? Oh, I think all editors and animators are at least partly masochistic. Yeah, exactly. You have to have at least a little bit. Okay, how do you do the text? That's actually quite simple, actually. It's probably one of the easier parts. It's really just... Okay. I just put the text into Verdana, bold. That's the font that I use. And then I just go into shading. And I give it a black outline. So fairly simple. But like, a white fill with a black outline basically fits anywhere. So it's super convenient because no matter what the background is, this text will still be easy to read. And then after that, I just animated it. I just went into the zoom and went, okay, I'm gonna key this part here. Probably can't see it. I just go, okay. I just go, okay. I go to this part here and go, I key that. I go back a few frames. I just zoom it out a little bit. That's it. And then when it plays, it has a kind of pops up a little bit. And that's honestly it. Then I just go and duplicate that by holding Alt and dragging it. And then I just replace the text with whatever. And I might resize it a little bit, but it still has the effect of popping up there a little bit. So yeah. And after this, okay, I'm just gonna move on from Raid Shadow Legends now. So is that like that? Yeah, that's still that took a lot out of me, honestly. Just because of how much re-edits that I had to do. More than anything else in the video, I think, actually. And yeah, so I just go through the rest of the video, just showing clips that relate to what I was saying. That's probably the easy part, to be honest. Okay, thanks. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, basically going through it, like this part probably the easier part actually, since all I need to do is get some serious and interesting sounding music put underneath, and whatever clips I show, I just relates to what I'm saying, and making sure it just flows really smoothly. So what is this, DaVinci Resolve? Yes, it is DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is awesome. I love the program. So I'm just going through everything, making a lot of it's just me. Like a lot of what I do is that I have a bad habit of this, is that I put a bunch of clips on top of each other, and it ends up stacking, and it just ends up keep going up, like, and as a result you get mountains like these. A lot of it is just different stuff stacked on top of each other, but sometimes, like with this section, it's just me trying to time everything. It's just one thing being shown, but me just trying to line up the timing so it flows smoothly and it doesn't seem confusing and stuff, and you're able to follow along with it well. So, a bunch of fun edits there. Oh yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes I clean it up, sometimes I'd occasionally go, okay, I'd get everything and I'd highlight it all, and then I'd just drag it down on top of each other and make it look nice and smooth. Like this part, it's like, it doesn't start out that way. Usually it's like this, all that stuff. And then in the end, I just go, okay, drag that down. That's if I can be bothered to actually clean it up and make it look nice. But a lot of the time I don't. I just go, oh, whatever. I finished that part. I can move on. It's not going to make a difference to anyone anyways. And plus, you know, having it look complicated like this, with like this, it looks cool. It looks satisfying. You can show it off and go, hey, look at all this editing I did. Look at the timeline I've got. And people can look at that and go, whoa, you're such a great editor and stuff. And it's like, you know. So, I don't know, messy timelines are, like look good to show off, I suppose. How much time did you take to edit this video? Oh, more than a month. It took ages. Just flex, you know. I'm not quite sure. It definitely took like, I think around 2 months, just of going through this every day, just going through everything. I just basically my process for a lot of this video was just going, you know, showing the clips that relate to what I'm talking about, but occasionally I'd throw in a fun edit. Okay, also like I'd add in some like cliff notes up here. So like, those are different parts that I'd want to integrate into the video. I want to talk about it, but at the same time, I don't want to actually like talk about it for too long, since it like stagnate and make the pacing like, it's like, you're talking about this part for way too long, Brandon, hurry up and move on. So I just put it into text, and it's not as important, and I just put it in there just as a side note. Yeah, in comparison, mine looks like a baby made it. That's okay, Notaku. Honestly, it's just, yeah. It's fun to show huge node setups too. Yeah, exactly. People go, oh, I don't know what that is, but it looks complicated. So it's just no, a really fun thing. It's like, yeah, look at what I did. Okay, and I'd occasionally my computer is struggling a bit right now. That's what happens with especially bigger projects where there's a lot of stuff on top of each other. So occasionally though, like I'd be going through and it's just showing the clips like normal, but occasionally I'd have fun with it and go, oh, I really like this part. I'm going to like animate the visuals, and then
thing that needs to happen gradually.
my computer's struggling a little bit.
This happens in about 20 seconds, and completely uprooting how we've been seeing the character for the last 8 episodes and making us change our mind on them isn't exactly something that can easily be done within a 20-second demo.
That was so fun. It was just me going, I'm gonna move the videos on top of each other and add in the whoosh sound effect and make it all cinematic and stuff. I love DaVinci Resolve. I swear it's so underrated. Yeah, that's why I support it, honestly. The fact that they were willing to basically put everything out in a free version. I only bought this because like there were a few things that I wanted access to that you couldn't get in the free version, more advanced things, and I wanted to support developers because I'd honestly much prefer them compared to Adobe, because Adobe can be very like, you know, I don't like them as a company very much. Would you say that DaVinci Resolve is better than Premiere Pro? Yes, I'm gonna answer his question as well. I personally think it is, purely just for a lot of reasons that I'm not necessarily gonna get into here, but I just much prefer the program and I like the company more because they have, in my opinion, a lot less scummy business practices. And like, you just need to pay for it once. And that's if you even want to get the full version. You can totally get the free version and do a ton of professional editing. So the fact that they're willing to give out that free version and like a paid version is basically optional compared to Adobe, where you have to do a monthly subscription no matter what. I don't like that, and they're just doing a lot of stuff for money and stuff, and like, I'd much prefer support DaVinci as a company, honestly. But yeah, so yeah, I'd have fun with certain sections. It's like that part was really creative. Now go back to the normal part where I'm showing clips and music and stuff and so on. It is morally correct to pirate Adobe products. You know, I'm on stream and I'm on YouTube, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. But yeah. No, don't do that. You shouldn't. You definitely shouldn't pirate Adobe products. DaVinci? What's the next video? Oh, it's on Bocchi the Rock. I can show you a bit of where I'm up to right now since I'm editing it. I'm not up to this fun part yet. I'm still going through audio cutting, which again is the dark abyss, as I like to call it, because it's the worst part. Oh, for anyone who's new, who's just joined, it's basically this section where I'm just going through hours worth of audio for huge amounts of time. Like this one was like 6 hours, but the Bocchi video is about 4 hours, I think. Just of pure audio files and getting everything out. I cannot stand this part because it is so boring and it is so, yeah. But yeah, I'll get through it eventually. I'm almost done with that section, thankfully. But it's just hard when you're sitting there and you're going through everything, because it gets so mind-numbing of hearing the same lines be repeated over and over and over again. It's like, is this part better than the last one? No. Oh yeah, that part is good. No, none of these are good. They all suck. I need to record that part again. Is the new video going to be about how Bocchi is literally you? For real, for real? Oh, pretty much. I just finished Bocchi a week or two ago. I loved it so much I borrowed a mate's electric guitar so I could learn how to play. After what you said in the last stream, I'm looking forward to what you say about Bocchi the Rock. Yeah, exactly. I'm probably gonna have fun with it. It's probably gonna I'll hopefully get it out as soon as I can. I'm still working on it. I'm working on it every day, but like as you can see, this like it's hard. And takes quite a bit of time. So yeah, I occasionally break it up with a bunch of fun edits. These parts are really simple. I try not to waste too much time on little details so long as I get the point across and stuff. Although I say that to myself, but then I waste time with a bunch of little details. But like, this stuff that matters to me. Only stuff that I feel like will make a difference when you're watching it. It's like, will this make it more interesting or make it not as interesting? So break it up. I exclusively waste time on details. We can relate on something, Notaku. So, now, okay, the next part that I wanted to talk about, this was also really fun. It's this little, when I'm talking about stuff like pacing in regards to comedic timing, I'm talking about stuff like this, where it just goes bang, and then it moves on right to the next part. My computer isn't loading today. Okay. Stuff like this.
Goku is the murderer. He reveals everything.
No, not that part.
Gaku.
Stuff like that, where it just like, says go, and then it just cuts off instantly and moves on to the next part. So it doesn't linger on it too much. It's just like, it can be very easy for the joke to be said, and then it's awkward because you leave it for just a split second too long, and I feel like that makes a difference to me. That's why I obsess so much over the correct timing and stuff like that. What's been your most fun video to edit? Oh, this video is simultaneously my most fun and worst video to edit. Worst because it's obviously the longest and it took me so long to make it. But at the same time, there was a lot of stuff that I got really creative with and that were really fun. And I was only able to do that like during the last 40% or something of the entire production, because like the first 60% is just me writing the script or me going through recording and going through all the different audio parts, which is significantly less fun. So but speaking of fun parts, this is probably the most fun that I've had editing anything ever, and that's the graph section. So that's here. This part was like so dang interesting to create because I had never done anything like it before. I stole the idea from Hayden Hillier-Smith, who he's a spectacular editor on YouTube. I watch a lot of his videos. He does a lot of videos for like some of the biggest creators on the platform, actually, like Logan Paul. But like basically just animating this entire section. And the way I did a lot of it was I just green screened it. So I went into the drawing program. Let's see if I can open this up. I just went into the drawing program. It's not green here because I already keyed it out. Brandon plagiarism, no way. You know what they say, great artists steal. But yeah, it really is just inspiration. But like, I go into the drawing program. Let me see if I can find the original clip. I'm looking for it in the original. Where is it? Find a media pool here. So originally it looks like this, and I just draw the entire thing in white, and I'd record myself doing it. I mean, he technically gave credit, so. But yeah, the way I did this graph was this part was just so satisfying to me. I loved editing this part because I just recorded myself drawing it. I just did things really practically. Like there are a lot of people who really get into like the animating stuff. I just try and do things as practically as possible. So like I just recorded myself doing this, took out the green screen, and then I just put in the video background, and that's pretty much it. Like I just recorded that, darkened the background, and so that like the white part would stand out more and it's easy to see. And then I just go through and make sure the timing is right on each of these sections. So like I'd slow down different parts. I'd go freeze on this part, slow down this part, or whatever it is, or speed up or super speed up this part where I'm drawing the words. Brandon, check DMs. I think chat will enjoy it. Oh god. Let me finish what I was gonna say first. So yeah, then after I just zoom in and out on different parts of it and add in a bunch of sound effects like the chalk and the cinematic whooshes, and boom, it's ended up being super cinematic, and like, which is cool because like it's super engaging and interesting to watch despite the fact that it's just a graph basically. But like I think with the way the music goes and stuff and the way everything goes, it's like you're unraveling some kind of mystery and stuff while the guy's like drawing on the whiteboard and he's like, and I figure this part out, and then I figure that part out, and then the music just gets more and more intense and stuff like that. That's basically what it was here, and it was super fun to edit this entire thing. So yeah, the best advice I've ever heard is to work smart, not hard. Yeah, basically. Unfortunately, I try yeah, exactly, because like that's basically what I did here. I didn't want to like learn the Fusion tab and all that stuff and how to get on all the different animations. I just basically did things based on how I knew how to do it. Like there might be some parts in a video where I just go, okay, I'm just going to, you know, get a piece of paper and write on it and show it to the camera or something, or I might scan it or whatever, and then just integrate that somehow instead of figuring out how to find some kind of preset that makes it look like a ripped page or something. I just get a ripped page in real life and do that. It's just easier to me. Whoa, YouTube just recommended me a random stream. That's great. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm basically just talking about my process here, just editing this video. So if you want to stick around, go ahead. Okay, other than Bochi, what would you like to make a video on? Oh, wait, way too many stuff. So I want to make a video on like Steins Gate. I'm going to make a video. I want to watch Rent a Girlfriend and then make a video on that. Probably trashing it. I think Notaku has something important to let you know, Brandon. Okay, I'll check the DMs. What did you send me? I'm not showing that on stream, Notaku. Why would you do that? Are you kidding me? Oh, I think chat will like it. Yeah, I'm sure they would. And I also get banned. Oh, now I know why YouTube recommends this. I love Steins Gate and anime. Yay, that's great. Okay, for those of you who are curious, Notaku just sent me a lewd pic of Bochi. That's it. I can't show that on stream. Okay. I mean, personally, I don't think you should be looting Bochi. She's a really wholesome character. But whatever. The internet's gonna internet. It's not lewd. She's just in a swimsuit. Exactly. The picture is very lewd. It is ecchi. It does not technically show anything explicit, but I'm not gonna take my chances. Sorry. Oh god. So yeah, in conclusion, this part was really fun to edit. I also liked doing some of those arrow drawing things where it's like, where is it? Where is it? My computer's really slow right now since it's trying to process like looking at all of this while at the same time streaming. So Notaku moment. It's not lewd if she's showing a little bit. It's not just, you haven't seen the picture, okay? Smart choice. Social media is brutal, pretty much. Ah, great. It just crashed. Lovely. I'm just gonna have to boot it up again. Give me a sec. DaVinci doesn't usually crash on me, but during this video it did. And that's just because it was a lot for my computer to handle in general. Premiere's crashed on me way more often, to be honest. See, everyone agrees, Brandon. Doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. Come on, hurry up. But yeah, I had a lot of fun during editing that graph section with the animation and stuff. It was just super satisfying. And it looked like something like, oh wow, this is super professional and stuff. If your video editing software isn't crashing every 5 minutes, you're doing it wrong. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, considering how big this video was, I'd be surprised if it didn't crash, to be honest. Stuff like this, you know, just like zooming in and out, going in and out. Stuff like this part. Showing different parts of the car. Yeah, and like this part was really fun as well, especially with the music going like when it. Form of story arcs. This was so fun to put together, where it's just like. Where it goes that, and then zoom it, and then zooms out, and then it wipes to shows a bunch more, which I just copy paste, and then I cut off the ends of it, so I just mushed them together, and then I drew the arrows and stuff, and it was just little animations and stuff. It looks like something that a preset would do, but I did it manually, and like, because I don't know any presets and stuff, but yeah, it was cool. How much time did it take you to be this good at editing? I don't know. I've been editing ever since I was, I think 12, I think. Like, I started it when I was, like, in first year in high school, so... Oh, that's middle school for you guys. So, for, like, in America, it'd be first year of middle school. That's around when I first started editing. And I'm now 20, so, you know, I've been practicing since then. What were you editing at 12? Oh, just school projects and stuff, you know, like stuff like the teacher going, hey, can you make, the first thing is like, how I discovered it actually was the teacher just went, hey, make a sun safe video on sun safety and stuff. It wasn't meant to be anything like anything. You could just do whatever you want, so long as you're educating the audience and stuff like that. And we did that. And I we recorded the video. Like, originally I didn't know what video editing was, so we just recorded it on our camera, and every time there needed to be a cut, we just pressed the pause button, and we just went through the entire thing in one take. And like, we had to like, oh, if this doesn't work, we're gonna have to start all over from the start, and that's not gonna be good, which is because I didn't know what video editing was. So we just went through it all, and it obviously sucked. And then I went, hey, you can do this. You can use this thing called iMovie. And I went through, and I can fix all the mistakes with the voices and stuff, and I can add sound effects and music. This is insane. This is really cool. So I just, yeah, and I just kept learning from there. Yeah, I just ended up editing more and more stuff. Obviously, my first videos on YouTube were not as complex as this. This is something that I built myself up to after a lot of practice. And again, this looks a lot more complicated than it actually is, because it's just a lot of video clips stacked on top of each other that I couldn't be bothered to clean up. Don't want to get Brandon in trouble. Exactly. You don't want him to get me in trouble, guys. Come on, Notaku, be better. Okay. Next part, that I'm just gonna skip through a bunch of stuff that's just like pretty standard, you know, show the clips, show the music. Some parts were really fun, like this part. I really like this part with the strings. I just got a string PNG from Google. I just feathered it out so that, because like they weren't transparent, which sucked, but like, you know, it looks like kind of like an effect that I did on purpose, so I don't know, it kind of works. And then it's really fun just doing like physics stuff where it's like the way the movement and animation work,
that still needed to be wrapped up, but were cut short as soon as the scene.
The way it's just like, the way it just falls. Oh, for that shing, I just added a sound effect and made it turn white for a second, and that was it. I didn't even do an animation for the actual like slicing, but like your mind fills it in. I hate fake PNGs. Exactly. It sucks. You should use background movements. But yeah, I could, but that'd take more time. I didn't want to waste my time. But like, I just went, oh, what's the simplest way I could do integrate this into the video? Just go into the crop section and transform, and then I just drag that until it crops, and then I feather it out, and that's it. It was way easier than loading it into Photoshop or something and then doing it all there. That would just what's the point? Take more time. So if it's here, it's here. And it was really cool doing. One thing that I really love doing is like changing the timing of how it goes. So like, you can see how I what's a more obvious example? The way the curve goes up, because I'm basically messing with the timing here. So it's like, instead of it just moving from dot 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 every frame at the same consistent part, which is boring and makes it look like it's moving by a robot, instead I kind of curved it so it would be like there's where it'd linger longer at the start and then it'd speed up as it approaches hitting the floor, so it looks realistic, like a realistic dropping moment, like a realistic dropping motion. And like, I did that for all these different parts, and it looks cool. Like, I just like how it looks. Hey Brendan, where do you get your anime footage from? I'm not sure if I'll get in trouble if I say that on stream, but I'm just gonna say I get it from the websites, you know, the ones, and I just download them from there, and I use them. Usually I actually get dubs, because like, even though I watch everything in the sub, when you download them, the subtitles are going to be integrated into the video file itself, and I don't want that when I'm editing it. So I also have to download the dubs and use that for the visuals, so that the subtitles don't get in the way and all that stuff. So I usually have the dub and the sub. Do you download or record clips? I download them. I just get them. I just download them and drag them straight in. I don't know anyone who would record it. That honestly sounds like hell, to be honest. Because like, imagine me just going through and screen recording, watching all of Erased. That, especially for like longer anime that's like 24 episodes. This is just 12 episodes. Nah, downloading them is just way easier. Why am I the only one without an anime profile picture? Don't worry. Yes. There are plenty of other people. You do? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if that's something that some people do out there, then it's like, they're insane. That's just what I do. Okay, and little motions like this as well. I have a lot of fun doing.
And more like we suddenly ended a story
Just
prematurely,
dunk.
started a new one, and
Just
then
the
jumped
pop
straight
and
to
the
the climax.
boing. And like I love doing stuff like that and just arranging it out just to demonstrate my point and stuff. Like I don't even spend too much time on making it look good. So long as it gets the point across, that's fine. And then I get going. Okay. Next part. I had so much fun with the Yashiro Gaku part of this thing, because like for most of it, it's mostly just serious analysis, but this is when I just start roasting the heck out of it, and it is so fun. Just like constant roast one after the other, adding in sound effects, making it funny. You have a lot of fun doing those motions? Sorry, I need to get my mind out of it. Oh yeah, I do. Those are probably the funnest parts, to be honest, since I don't really have an image in my head of exactly how it needs to turn out. I could just go, okay, how can I visually demonstrate the point that I'm trying to make in a way that's easy to understand? And I just do that. I just drag whatever in and make them move against each other, and like have this like, oh, that bounce looked really realistic and stuff. That looked like an actual bounce, or that actually looked like a slide or something as it goes boom and it slows down. And it's really just it's nothing complicated. It's just me playing with the zoom and the position keyframes. Just right here, I just go click, keyframe there, move a few frames across, then drag the position across or whatever it is, or zoom in, and then I just go into here and I just adjust the curve graph, and like now I can choose how long it lingers on this certain section or whatever. It's fine. They're doing the cha-cha slide. Yeah. Okay, and then we get to Yashiro's backstory. Mostly just simple editing once again. And
Yashiro, you absolute moron.
okay. I had so much fun editing the stuff that's just roasting Yashiro. Obviously, they did take a bit longer than editing other parts of the video and stuff, where you just simply show the clip and that's it, and the music. But it's just so fun. Like, I just love this part of editing the video. This is why I don't outsource this to anyone else, because I actually have fun doing this part. The part that's hard is the part that's most necessary though. So like I can't really outsource that to anyone else either, because I know if they're gonna do it, they're not gonna do it in the way that like that's proper. Like that's like choosing the exact right takes as to how I wanted it. But just like getting things like him jumping off the roof and stuff, and but like one of the funnest parts of this entire section was the backstory. Just like, oh man, this I just love whenever I get to do parts like this. It's just like,
I don't know what was going on with this.
I'm just going like,
Once upon a time, there was a sinner who was cast down to hell, but because he didn't kill us,
I just want to talk about some of this.
So he gave the sinner a spider friend to climb out, but a bunch of other sinners also tried to climb out with him, and then it snapped. And when I was a kid, I killed a bunch of hamsters, but one of them survived by standing on the body of another hamster, and ever since then, I also see spider friends above people's heads. And that's why I kill children. What?
Okay, so I just like had so much fun with some of the little details of this part. So it was like just making fun of how ridiculous his backstory sounds and stuff, and how stupid it is. So I just go like, with some parts I don't even try. I just, so long as it's funny, I put it in. So like I just go no, and got the thing, got the emoji, and put it over stick figure, and like he's in hell and stuff, and all the skeletons are dancing. And that's why I kill children. I had so much fun acting that part as well. I was just like, well, I'm just doing the entire dumb voice. Those parts are always the funnest part, honestly. Like I can just, I always love whenever I get, that's like one of the only parts that I get to when editing, where it's just like, where it's less mind-numbing when I'm doing the audio cutting. And that's why I kill children. What? Exactly. I'm making fun of the villain's motivations. It's stupid. But do you like listening to any music podcasts in the background while working on the effects, or do you have to focus on the voiceover? I do try to listen to music whenever I can, and I'm just editing the visuals. But unfortunately, the thing about editing is that you can't really listen to anything else because the audio is so important. Like the only parts that where I can listen to anything else is just when I'm editing the visuals, like, and spending a lot of time. But usually that's only during the fun sections where like this, where I can spend time putting all the images on top of each other. Usually it's just find the right clip that matches with what the voiceover is. So that takes time. And a lot of this, but stuff like this, where I need to spend a bit more time. Maybe that's why I'll enjoy doing it, because I can also listen to music. But like, there are a bunch of little details here. To make sure it was obvious that this is the same person, I got the demon horns as well and put them on both of them, even though they're just both memes and stuff. It's still like, I went, hey, it's like, but then it's like, I just like, how can I add on top of the already ridiculous script and make it even more ridiculous? It's like, but there was one time he killed a spider, and then I just got this huge image of a spider, made it huge, and then I got the confused screaming guy and just put him there. I was like, ha! And it making it seem like he killed it on accident. He like, it's not because he didn't kill it, not because he was sympathetic towards the spider or anything, but just because he was scared of it, and that was it. Just poking a bit more fun at the backstory. And then I added a bit of a vignette as well and made it black and white except for the demon horns, so it's easier to see that it's the same person. And then I got the Buddha image, and then I went, oh, I'm just going to make it go, hey, and smile in the Photoshop and stuff, and just made that transition. I just put on like podcasts, not to listen to, but just to have constant noise. Yeah, that makes sense. But like, if I'd like to do that, but if I do, I won't be able to actually concentrate on what I'm doing. I can't, so I just end up like, yeah. But I do listen to music whenever I can, especially when I'm editing a lot of visual stuff like this part. And then it's just like, he lowered the string to hell and stuff. And then it's just like, he's fishing. And just put his face over it and stuff. And it's like, he's just lowering the line and stuff. Just like, I just kept thinking more ridiculous ideas as I kept going along and stuff. And it's like, now I just got some image of the stickmen climbing a rope or something, and just edit it together. And put it on top of added a bunch of dumb faces on it and stuff. And like, this face still with the demon horns, like telling a story with the get off. And like, I actually needed to extend the image. I copy and pasted the image several times so that the line is connected to it. It's like, because that's not what the original image looked like. I just copy and pasted it a bunch of times, so there's all these different people together here. Like to tell the story of, you know, how these people are clinging to the bottom of the rope and the get off thing. And then I love how I added the sound effect and stuff, and then it's like, and then I changed the face to make it just like, oh shit. Just as he's just falling down. And I love the little sound effect I added too, of the man screaming and stuff. And it just cuts off so quickly, so it's like, oh, and then it moves on to the next part. And then I just had more fun with this, where I just like, I'm going to add on stuff on top of his face and make him a stick man, make him look absolutely stupid, like a Grady Under video or something like that. And shows the clips of the thing, and that's why I can't do it. And then he's just like, what? Yo, what's up? You're filthy Frank. Yeah. So Legion. Yeah. Okay. So I just keep going. More is the same as usual. Just showing clips that relate to what I'm saying. I'm just gonna skim through most of those parts, as there's nothing really interesting to say about that. It's basically what you'd expect. Oh shit, I know this song. Are you talking about the one that's playing in the background? That's just Evangelion. It's like the most famous anime OP ever. Yeah, that's it. Cruel Angel's Thesis. Da, 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 da. Yeah, fun things like that, and how I added this, like, just like that little effect took some time for me to figure out. Like, I got the vignette, made it pink and stuff, and looked for some hearts on YouTube and stuff, and like found the the harp sound effect. That was funny. There's just little things that I do to like it, because it's like the joke, I feel like the joke wouldn't work without this, but the way I added
a moment with the wink, and he landed on a giant inflatable,
and the little fart sound effect as he lands on it and stuff, and it's just like, I'm getting more and more angry and stuff. Yeah, different clips and stuff. Okay, what's the next part I have in my notes? yeah, like it was just so fun to put some of those parts together. I didn't care as much about making it look good. Since it's just for comedy anyways. Nobody really cares so long as it's entertaining. It's just a bunch of images stacked together, and I just linked them all together and animated the whole thing. So, yeah. Okay. What's next? Okay, next part, the Kaio rant
one more thing
section.
about this ending that really struck a nerve.
I had fun with this. Honestly, as the further the video went along, the more fun I had editing it, honestly. Because like at first it was just so boring, but the further things went along, the more momentum I picked up, the more creative decisions that I made. And I think that kind of shows in the final product, honestly. Okay, I love this part because it just has the entire and just
She has a baby.
just I always envisioned it with the Ode to Joy song, but as soon as I actually put it in there with the epic thing and it shows her walking in with a baby, it was just the most glorious experience ever. And it was just so funny when I first saw it. Like, okay, some of these things actually, I don't know if any other editors experienced this, but like when you just make a random decision during editing and think, oh my god, this is the funniest thing ever. And it's like, oh my god, I can't believe that worked out so well. But then, after, when you've exported the video and you're watching it with everyone else, like, it's really not as funny. It was funnier when I first made the accidental decision or something. But yeah, it fits perfectly. I love that moment. I still love this moment. I still think it's funny.
That's right. They spent all this.
I just want to watch through this and talk about some of this. So I'm just gonna a complete roast session of this. It was just me just roasting it, just like as funny as I can make it. Because I didn't want it to be too serious as this part. I just wanted it to be funny. So I think I did that pretty well.
She has a baby.
Right.
Baby, and it's not Satoru's. That's right, they spent all this time pushing these two together only to suddenly go, you know what? Let's not do that anymore. Instead, let's put her with the trap and had a single conversation with and wiggle the child in everyone's face and make them suffer. So not only did the show go out of its way to throw the ship in the trash can for seemingly no reason, but it also pissed off its entire fan base while doing so. Spectacular move. Seriously, what exactly was the thought process behind this decision? What were they hoping to achieve?
Okay, same thing. I was just being super creative with like some of the images and the visuals and stuff. I like stuff like, you know, the hands pushing them together, and like I just love this moment where it's just like it shows the guy jumping out and just adding in the rip and stuff. He's like, hey, you know what? Let's not do that anymore. Just like that was one of my favorite parts. The fire with the baby, throwing it in the, having it realistically be thrown into the trash can. Actually, I really love that motion. Like the way it just does the little wiggle there. Just like the way it falls in. I love like making it like, oh yeah, that actually looks like it fell into the trash can. And John Wick just okay, now let's talk about some of I don't know why I relate to that when I don't edit any videos. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you know, it might be able to relate to some things. I'm able to relate to like, oh yeah, I totally get that. Gee, I'm late, bro. That's okay. I'm just going through a bunch of things. You can still go back and watch the VOD if you want to as well. But basically, I don't know why, but I don't see why people are mad about the part with the baby. Well, because it's failed setup, essentially. Like, they spent 10 episodes basically setting up this pairing, and then at the end, they just went for basically no reason. And like, obviously you're not going to be as mad if you weren't invested in that at all. But in that case, it's like, why set it up to begin with? Like, you're going nowhere with that decision. It just makes no sense. It doesn't contribute anything to the story. It was largely unnecessary. I'm sorry, Daddy Brandon. I was on the phone. What's up, Brandon? Where are we right now? I'm just going through the part where I'm roasting the decision that the baby was there. Yes, I'm using DaVinci. DaVinci is the greatest. Okay, so basically, well, one part that I really had fun with. At the beginning, I didn't want it to be too serious, since like I just wanted this to be an absolute roast and people could laugh at it and stuff like that. It's fine. And then like, and then this part with me waking up from the bed and stuff. It's like,
Did the writer wake up one day and decide, yes, I'm feeling kind of sadistic today. Hey reader, you know that thing you're super emotionally invested in? I've decided to burn it.
Yeah, okay, so for that part, it was just, okay, it's only 8 seconds, but I did an entire shoot for it, okay, I actually filmed 2 different skits just for the section, and let's talk about these skits for a moment. So, I recorded this on my parents' bed. This isn't mine, but because they have a nicer looking bed, so I wanted to use that. What's funny is because like I originally said is like, oh, wake up first thing in the morning, this. But I actually recorded this first thing in the morning. Like this was actually me first thing in the morning. Like I just like I woke up and then I went, okay, grab the camera, go to my parents' room. I wake up. I already told them everything I was gonna do, so it's fine. And then like 15 minutes after I woke up, I just filmed this and did the entire thing, and it worked out really well. Like I actually recorded this twice actually. Hey, he's wearing the same shirt. Look at that. Woo! What a coincidence. Okay, but like I actually the thing about this is that I also actually recorded this twice. The first time I recorded it, it sucked completely. My delivery was off. It just sounded terrible. And I also happened to have hay fever on that day. And like, as I was like, I was my nose and stuff like that. And I was hoping that it wouldn't show in the final video. So I just went ahead and recorded it anyways for like ages. But then I went in and I checked it out and I was like, nah, it was super obvious. This isn't gonna work. And I just wasn't saying it in a way that was funny, so I needed to do it again. And I recorded it the second time. It was still kind of flawed, but it was like, yeah, it was good enough. So I went, yeah, let's go with that. I'll use that. And like these were probably the best takes that I could find from it. I added I made it zoom in at the beginning, and I also added the black bars to make it a bit more cinematic, and it also gives me a bit more flexibility on how I'm gonna move it around and stuff like that. Just like there, it looks like it's a movie or whatever. I don't know. I just like black bars, and then it cuts out, then goes a little bit more in.
Emotionally invested. I've decided.
These are all different takes, by the way. Every time it cuts closer. Every time it cuts closer, like this, from this part to this part, that's a different take, because like those are the parts that was like, nah, I said this part better here, so I'm gonna use that here, and I like this part better here, so I'm gonna use that there. So I bet you cringed so much after that first take. Yeah, I did. It was terrible. But I think it was worth it. I still like adding in live action skits and stuff like that.
Music. After over, it goes, oh look.
Like one thing I wanted to say about this actually, because like I feel like this is something that I wanted to mention, because like this is totally irrelevant. This is back to like the Kaio baby thing again, but like a good comparison would be to say that, okay, what if you could say that it's like, yeah, but the story isn't about the romance, it's just a subplot and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, that's a good point. However, if someone were to get like a romance story, let's say, let's reverse things. If someone were to get a romance story, but then at the beginning they were to introduce a sci-fi element or something like that, some kind of thriller-esque element to it, or mystery, and it was super interesting, and it got a lot of people invested. The story is still largely a romance, but they're developing that mystery side of things, and it's getting really, really interesting. And as the further the story goes along, the more it develops it. It keeps getting more and more interesting. And it keeps doing that until right at the end, where it goes and just turns around and gives it the stupidest possible answer you could imagine. It'd be disappointing, right? Like, just because the story is still largely about romance, it doesn't mean that the subplots don't matter anymore. Like, that's still a part of the story. Like, it's just, if someone were to complain about that situation where they developed that sci-fi aspect of it, and only to turn around and give it the stupidest possible answer, and like people just defended it going, well, it's a romance story, so it doesn't matter if the sci-fi elements are good. It's like, no, screw you. I still want it to be good. They introduced the element and they made it work for so long. Why would you suddenly ruin it at the end with this dumb answer? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. And that's essentially what happened here. And I feel like people kind of dismiss it because when it comes to romance and stuff like that, or romantic subplots, people just go, oh, it's unprofessional to talk about it, or like that's not an objective reason to hate the show. But I think it is, because what shows are all about at the end of the day are people's emotions, and like whether you're invoking the correct emotional response that you were looking for. So obviously if you're doing something, if you set something up for a long time, get people really into it, and then you turn around and give it a really dumb answer, then don't get surprised when people get mad at it, because honestly that's pretty valid. Like if people are upset by something because of how a show executed a certain thing, I don't think it's right to dismiss it just because it's a romance. It's still a part of the show. Brandon going off on a raise again as always. It's because I really wanted to say this thing. I've had it in the back of my mind for ages, but I never said it anywhere. So I finally said it here. So okay, that's just the main reasoning. Now I'm gonna finally go on to this next part.
Girl, he had like no chemistry with.
Yep.
There, he never.
Okay, now for this next part. I also had a lot of fun with this. Did I? Oh, I think I accidentally deleted the color grading here for some reason. That's alright.
Much about this point.
Okay, so this was the second skit, and thankfully I managed to do this on the first try, and I'm so glad that I did, because honestly it would have been hell to record this again, because this shot sequence was a lot more complicated. So it was it was a bit complicated to film. There were several different angles with the same camera, so I had to obviously plan it all out. So which shots do I need to film on this angle? Which shots am I speaking in and need the mic? So I just had to obviously like go through the takes, choose the best ones for all of them. So I had like hundreds of different takes and stuff like that for each different angle, and I go, okay, what do I say in this different part? And I basically cut between them. I put the camera in front of me and I record that part, all the lines that need to be said from that angle, and then I'd go put it next to me, say all the lines that need to be said from that angle, or so on. And then when I'm cutting it together, I can cut between the different angles like I was planning to. So I had to envision it all in my head before actually filming it, and so that when I'm editing it, it's not going to be a mess. It's like cutting back to the front angle, cutting back there, and then cutting back to the side angle again, and me saying the thing. And this line was so this was a really long line, but I knew I had to get it in one take, so I just said it over and over and over again, until I finally got it. It's like, yes, that one worked, and it makes me sound like I'm a bit stressed at the time, but I think that kind of works because that's kind of what I was going for anyways. So I think it worked out. And then it goes through that entire section, being really complicated. The part with the TV was actually the part with the TV was actually super easy. It was just, you know, film the blank TV. Wait a second. Come on, load up. Stop smiling at me. Hurry up and load, computer. Come on, load. Okay, the part with the TV. This was easy. It was just film the TV, and then just put the video file on top of it and make sure it lines up. And then I just zoom in and out as I need to, and add in the black bars to make it look more cinematic. I always like the part with the hand, different shot again. And then, ooh, okay, sorry. Computer's dying, my computer's struggling as much as I. Yeah, to go through all of that, only to go and just to play a meme at the end. It's just, I think it's really well done at how it does that. So. Dang, you love black bars, Brandon. Yes. Whenever you put it on, it instantly makes the video more cinematic. So I don't always do it, but considering that this is erased and erased itself uses the black bars, then I went, I could use it too, because like, you know, it kind of fits with the style and the theme and stuff, and like... And then I go into the explanation, that's fine. A proper explanation. And, okay, wait, what's the next part that I wanted to talk about? Yeah, but like basically none of these things you really think about when you're watching the final result, since it's just me. I'm sitting there, like, during this part, like, it's just me sitting there and talking, but like, it took a lot of effort to actually like set everything up and stuff and make sure the audio recording is there and stuff, and like cut it all together in a way that's seamless. And then the next part is the rewrite, which is right at the very end and takes about the last 20 minutes of the video. So like the video itself probably would have been only like 40 minutes if it was just the critique and talking about why the show was good at the beginning and the ad segment, but like the last 20 minutes of me, it was just me doing a massive rewrite. So let's see, just regular video and stuff, same as usual, doing a promotion for the bread eating stream thing. Follow me on Twitter. And okay, so for this part it just starts off as normal, very easy, and basically what happens is that the story is like showing out how I change things. I'm using the clips from the show wherever I can, but as things go past, it slowly begins to change. So wait a second, I'm using the searching soundtrack again, which is like really good at building mystery and stuff like that. And then it slowly starts transitioning into using some of the storyboards, which it starts integrating these storyboards. And basically what happened was that I hired someone on Fiverr to do this. Like, I basically gave him a shot list of everything I needed him to draw, while making it so that like few drawings were needed as possible, so that I could like reuse a bunch. Like I reused this same shot of her sitting at the bridge several times throughout it. Yeah, wait, what, on Fiverr? Yeah, exactly. So I basically went, okay, I know I'm not going to be able to draw these myself. I'm not a very speedy artist. I need someone else to do this. So I can just go on Fiverr and basically find someone who'd be able to draw storyboards. And the struggle was, however, that like, you know, most storyboard artists like haven't seen Erased or watch anime. But thankfully, this guy, he actually did watch anime though, but he hadn't seen Erased. So at least there was that though, that he watched anime. So I sent him several screenshots of what the show looked like, visual examples of what the shots could look like from like other shows and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you could mimic this shot with this part. And like I showed him what the character designs looked like. He did some research on that himself, and we went back and forth a few times since that, and still ended up being a bunch of inconsistencies, because like he went, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, but like I'm like, that's not part of the show, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, oh, okay, I need to fix that. So we just kept going back and forth until it did that. So I actually hired him near the beginning, because obviously I had to plan all this out. So I hired him like near the beginning of the editing and all that stuff. So the guy ended up, so I thought like, oh yeah, he'll have plenty of time to like, you know, make all the storyboards and stuff. But he also ended up having a ton of delays because of like in real life stuff. And I said, you know, it's fine, whatever, so long as you like, I still have a lot of editing to go anyways, so by the time I'm done there, you'll probably be done. And like by the time, the thing is, by the time he finally got the boards back to me, and he finally started working on it, because this like took over a month and stuff, I was already up to editing this section. So I just edited around the storyboards. Like I knew which parts the storyboards would go and just left them blank, and then I just used the footage from the anime everywhere else wherever I could, so that when he sent me the storyboards, I just dragged and dropped them right into the spot where they're supposed to go, and I just dropped them in and like put it together like an animatic. So like I wasn't just gonna make it so that it was like, you know, just a still image being shown on the screen. Like I did the thing with the black bars again, where originally the full image looks like this, but I by simply adding in the black bars. It's like, ooh, that's cool. Suddenly it looks like a movie. But I'm glad he did do it in full frame so that I could, like, you know, move it around and pan up and down and stuff, and like integrate some kind of movement. So yeah, different angles. I zoomed in more on this, zoom out more on that part. Go back to the footage wherever I can use it so that, like, you know, I'm maximizing efficiency. I'm only getting him to draw the parts that are absolutely essential that I can't put in with the show, and saving money as well. And then with this next part, it's pretty much all original story. So like I just the way it like kind of pans up, pans down, tilts down, sorry, panning's the wrong word. And like there's all this original story. So these are the parts of the main bulk of the storyboards. Yeah, back to the footage. And then the rest of this. So like just the way I'm constantly going, okay, how can I make these shots more visually interesting? Let's see how I can get this part, for example, and it's like that, and then it pans, and then it like moves back, and then it reveals the thing, and like it's just constantly zooming in or out. Kind of just make it feel like a movie, you know? Just like make it still in this part. Okay, and yeah, I don't think the storyboard artist, he actually did a really good job. Despite like having never seen the show, I think he got the characters down really well, which was like good, down to like some good communication and stuff, and like making sure he knew which parts. There was still a few parts that needed to be fixed, like, oh, these characters are supposed to be in the scene, but they're just not there. It's like, oh, okay. But and like I added some stuff like the police flashing lights and stuff. That was cool. And okay, fun fact. When I originally wrote the scene, there was no revival within a revival. There was none of that. There was none of that idea that was there. I didn't think of that when I first wrote it. Like at first, it was just gonna be this like climactic thing. It's a big build up to the bomb exploding. But then, and right as he's about to press it, he presses it, and there's a Deus Ex Machina where it pans down and reveals that the kid stopped it, and Satoru called Ed for help. But honestly, I wasn't satisfied with it because it felt like a bit contrived and a bit too convenient. I was like, oh, he just happened to call them. But I didn't know how else to solve it, so I just had to go through with that because like I was running out of time to make the video. So when I was in the middle of the editing, I suddenly had the idea of, I was like, wait a second, what if it actually did explode? And then he went back using revival and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, that like it's a little crazy and out there and stuff, but I gotta put that in that because, like, you know. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I just and because now, like, and it also fixes a lot because I was like, now he actually has a reason to call his friends. Like, he doesn't just call them out of nowhere for no reason. He actually knows what's gonna happen. He knows about the bomb, and then he calls them using revival. So and plus, you just get the idea of using revival within itself, which in my opinion is a pretty cool idea as well. And like, this is how the full image looked and stuff like that. And in my opinion, it ended up being like the best part of the sequence to me, because it's like just made it like after he respawned again, and it's like, oh my god. And then it's like with the epic music playing in the background, it makes it so much cooler. And yeah, I'm just so glad I went through the effort of doing that. I just it's like, oh, I gotta integrate this. So I just wrote down the lines, recorded them again, chose the best ones, put them into the video, and then put the storyboards above that as well. But like, this was like, a lot of this stuff is happening at once. This isn't something that's like, a lot of this happened during the process of making the video. So yeah, I also got quite a bit of criticism surrounding the bomb idea and stuff. And like, in paper, I thought it worked since it was kind of the main centerpiece of all the tension in this scene, and I didn't think it really needed an explanation since, like, you know, he's a mass murderer. I was like, of course he'd be able to get his hands on one. It's not that difficult. But like, but the fact is, like, honestly, I expected way more people to be critical of several different aspects of this rewrite, because in my mind there were like holes everywhere. So like, the only thing for people to criticize to be the bomb idea and stuff, and that was like it. that was a miracle in my eyes, because it's like, oh my god, that was the only thing. Like, in my mind, it was just a mess. It was like all these different things. That's pretty convenient. Oh, that's convenient. But like I think I did a good enough job of making it so that each thing that happens makes sense and is motivated by the characters. And so for the only thing that's like to be flawed in the end was like the entire bomb idea, I just consider that a win. Because it's like nobody really talked about anything else, and nobody really had a problem with anything else. It was just a bomb that came out of nowhere. So I was like, you know what? That's fine. That's valid. I'm just glad that's the only thing. The fact that he was so mad about the ending that he came up with a new one. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't just me being mad. It was just me going, oh, I really want to share this idea that I had. Like, I really wanted to do it. Like, the ending reminded me of the ending of Domestic Girlfriend for some reason. Oh, I haven't seen Domestic Girlfriend. But, yeah. So, like, it wasn't necessarily just me getting mad at the ending. It wasn't just me going, regular, please. Huh? What does that mean? Huh? Notaku, what are you saying? Well, regardless, I think he's talking about Domestic Girlfriend or something, I don't know. But regardless, it was like, yeah, I just really wanted to bring this idea to life, because I had a couple of ideas, and I really wanted to write it out. It's the name. Okay, regular. Yeah, I got it. But basically, yeah, I just really wanted to bring this idea to life, and I wanted to get it storyboard. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, to be honest, when I first started it, but I was like, whatever. I'll try a risk anyways, I'll see if it works out. All you need to do is hire someone on Fiverr. And there was so much that could have gone wrong. Like, it could have just been like, oh, the drawing's all crap and stuff. They just don't look right, or like, he just doesn't get back to me with the drawings at all. Considering it's a storyboard, and like a lot of it hinged on that, but I think it ended up working out really well. Gigok made a video losing his mind because of the ending. It is insane as well. On Domestic Girlfriend, yeah. Okay. But yeah, personally, I mostly made this video. I mostly made this rewrite of the ending for my own personal satisfaction, because like I just wanted it to be like, I just want to be satisfied with a certain version of the ending of Erased, and like I just wanted, and all it really was is just restructuring a couple things, moving stuff around and going, okay, like this part goes here, that part goes here, and in my opinion, that's a lot more satisfying. Like showing that part and just recontextualizing the scene with the mom and making it so it's like she's actually like we try to make it more sympathetic towards her, because originally it was just kind of like, oh, now you're suddenly trying to make us feel sorry for the mom. Well, like, but I don't care about her because like they didn't. Oops. Let me replace the battery real quick. Oh, my camera is heating up, bro. Okay. One second. R.I.P. I'm dead. Am I there? Is it working? Okay. That's in focus, right? Okay. I died. I'm back. Okay. But like, yeah, this part I was just trying to make it so that the mom was more sympathetic and stuff, like in a way that actually worked, because I was just like, the way they did it, it was just like, you could have made me feel a bit more sympathy for the mom, but this part just came out of nowhere, and it just like, I felt no sympathy towards her from the start. There was no like build up to this. There was no real anything. She was just kind of a one-dimensional villain at that point. And you could make her more sympathetic at the end if that's what you really want to, but you kind of got to set it up a little bit better. You got to make it so that she's a bit more complex from the beginning. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have that shot of her just standing there instead of cut out all the shots of her having an evil smile and stuff, and just have it be that her expression is ambiguous and stuff. So yeah, and a bit more notes there, just like for further explanation for what I was trying to do. Going to more of the storyboards, and I think this version worked a lot better in my opinion. I didn't see anyone criticizing this, and I think that's because, like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think this version would have been amazing to see, where it's more so it's like, it's the same things technically happening. It's just changing the way it's being portrayed. It's showing the way her anger comes out, and having a different choice of music and like a different way of framing it all. Just by having that, and just having her collapse and just cry, and in a way where it's just like, it's not trying to make us feel like now you really got to feel sorry for her. She was just such a sweet innocent thing, and she like it was because of her sad backstory and stuff. It's like, no, she is abusive, but she also suffered through a lot, and that's kind of what the way this is portrayed is kind of communicating a bit more. I love you, Brenda. When you're making videos about your videos, that's when you have a problem. We need to go deeper. Next, we need to make a video talking about this live stream. I just like talking about some of the process, because like there's so much that people would miss and stuff. I just want to like show some of this stuff off sometimes, because it's like there's so much stuff that I put like a lot of thought into that like you just generally kind of miss when you're watching the video. But like when it's pointed out, it's like, oh, okay, that's like it. I never thought about it that way. Showing the part with the music and stuff. And then I also got the guy who did the art for the storyboards here. I got him to basically like, hey, can you send me a picture of like the blue butterfly and stuff, but like as a PNG? And I just kind of animated it stuff, so it landed in front of him and faded away and stuff. And that was kind of symbolic to like, because it's like, if the blue butterfly is always there, then whenever he's using revival and stuff, and this is the last time he's going to use revival, then it'd be really cool to have that blue butterfly kind of like fade away, and like for the last time, kind of to show that it's finished now. That's the end of it. And then revival activates, and he goes back to the present. Like, honestly, I don't see why they couldn't have done that. Like, a lot of people say, well, how else is he supposed to get back to the present without a coma? I don't know. Revival is that you literally like have that entire thing, and he went back to the present already before, so there's no reason you can't just do that again. So like, I don't think the coma was necessary. Could have totally just done that and had him, and like revival could have like filled in his memories and stuff for all those years he spent. And it's basically just the same thing, but just, you know, slightly better. He's not weighed down by that guilt now, and that would have been pretty easy to do. Like, kind of similar to like Back to the Future and stuff, where it's like he discovers all these new things, what the new timeline is like, and everyone's a lot happier in this version. And okay, how about the process of making live stream? The reason I do live streams is because they're way easier than making videos, honestly. Like, it's just, all I really need to do is like put in a bit of preparation, type down a couple notes, and have a general idea, and like set up the camera or something like that, and just like, and then I just start streaming and add in some music stuff. It's really just having fun and talking to you guys. It's way easier to do a live stream because you can just sit down and do it, compared to a video, which takes like sometimes months of work. Yeah, exactly. No editing is needed. I don't even need a script. I just talk out of my own head and talking and responding to you guys. What's sad about the anime is I was going for something cool, but then it blue balled us, essentially. And that's what I was aiming to fix with this rewrite, because I really wanted this ending to be satisfying, and I feel like it's like and I just kind of restructured everything around in my head to make it as close to the original as possible, while still giving us a more satisfying ending. And I think I did that very well. A lot of comments said that they was like, oh, I accept this ending as canon now. This is the version that I want. I mean, I still have my own weird traumas with quality content myself, but watching editing streams like this, I'm still good about out because I sympathize with creators that channel their energy. Yeah, that's great. I think this video was just an excuse for Brandon to talk about Erased again. Maybe this stream. Maybe, but like honestly, I just wanted to see. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff I did in my video, honestly, because like there's a lot of stuff that I'm proud of. Like, I don't think it's bad to say that. Like, there's a lot of stuff where it's just like, dang, I really did a good job on this part. And I kind of want to talk about that. Like, I want to put a bit more of a spotlight on that. There were black people in Erased. To be fair, that was for a very, very quick shot. That's just Yuki's family. And it's shown for like 2 seconds before cutting away forever. Like at the end credits and stuff. It's very easy to miss. And okay. The Kaio drawing. This is the Kaio drawing. I love this part. Once again, I hired someone to draw this.
The entrance is Kaio.
And it was so worth it. Like, goddamn. I just love that moment. Like, just like, because from the beginning, I was planning to use this part of the music because that music was when it was really emotional, in a nice way, in an uplifting way in the movie. And I thought that would be perfect for the moment that Kaio walks in and sees him again. And then I just went, okay, for this part, I really want to do something special. I'm going to hire an artist, like just to draw a real still image for that, just for that situation. Just put it on a white background, and they did a phenomenal job. I couldn't have. They could, yeah. I gotta flex the effort, but yeah, it was just. This is the last thing I hired someone on Fiverr to do, but it was 100% worth it, and they knocked it out of the park. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. And like, it made this moment to me, because like, it's the moment that Kaio sees him again for the first time, and it looks beautiful. Like, okay, I'll have to link all the different people that I had help me down in the description, since I couldn't have done it without them. And I just really liked how this turned out. Originally, they had her eyes open and stuff, but then I asked them, hey, can we make a quick adjustment real quick? Can we make it so that she's like tearing up and smiling and stuff with her eyes closed? And I thought that worked really well. And yeah, and then after that, it's just basically the end of the video. And okay, so like the music is nice there. Very much, and it's basically really close to the end of the video, but I actually cut something out here. I hired someone to edit my video, but well, I can't say I was pleased as you were. Well, why do you think I don't hire people to edit my videos? I only hire people for very small things that like I could afford to like lose and stuff. Like if it I actually hired other people to do certain things on this video as well. Like for example, I tried hiring someone to do like to actually compose some music, like right at the very beginning of the video, like just for the first 30 seconds. I wanted someone to like compose some actual fresh new music for that, and I paid them to do it, and the end result, it sucked. It didn't work, so I just didn't use it. So that was a bit of wasted money, but in my opinion, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So like I did try it, and whether it turns out well or not, that's okay. And like, if it doesn't turn out well, then I just don't use it. And if it does turn out good, then I use it. And there's no way I'm going to hire anyone to like do bigger stuff like the editing, because that's like a huge amount of creative control that I'm not willing to give up, because like a lot of them just don't know how to do it, especially with cheaper editors. Like the only ones who would know how to do this properly charge a lot of money. And that's not money that I can afford right now. In total, do you think you remember how much this video cost? No, not really. It wasn't too much for the little parts. It was only like a couple hundred, I think. Something like that. Mostly just for, like, in Australian dollars, but mostly just for little things like the storyboards and the, it was a few $100s. But in my opinion, it was worth it. And like, just for the art and stuff and like the little things. And I think... And I'm really proud of that. That's my first time, actually, hiring people to do stuff for a video. You mean fake money? Australian dollars. Yeah, okay. And about this, after this, there was a section where there was actually supposed to be this entire section where I explained what happened to Irie, because, like, you know, she's not in the rewrite. So it's like, what happened? There's that question of what exactly happened to her? Why is she introduced at the beginning then? And I had an entire idea for that, but I cut it out. And this was for several reasons. One, I was editing this part furiously. Like, it was the night of the deadline. This video had to go up in just a couple hours from that point. And two, the concept was a little out there anyways. Oh, who was that again? Irie. She was that girl at the beginning, like who he met, and like it's implied they get together at the end, but I didn't like that because they just didn't have any chemistry whatsoever. But like, yeah, she's the last person that he sees. Where's the other girl who he helps out of the fire and stuff. But regardless, there was an entire section about her. But yeah. Oh yeah, that person. Okay. And two, my concept for her might have been a little out there anyways, and might have been a bit ridiculous to some people. I already had a ridiculous idea with the entire revival within a revival, so I didn't want to push my luck too much. And three, I wanted to end things on a high note. We just had a very sentimental scene with Kaio seeing him again for the first time, and the rewrite just concluded, and I feel like at this point I just decided it would be best to end the video as soon as possible to kind of end things while it's still on a high note. I didn't want to drag it out and make things further and make the video even longer either. So I just went, yeah, I'll just get the idea, and I just posted on Patreon. So if anyone wants to see that idea, it's all explained in a Patreon post, which you can see. And anyone who wants to read the concept, they can find it there. And I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So at this point, I've gone through the entire video, and the video's done. Right? Like, I'm wrong. No, I export the video thinking it is done. The process takes almost an hour. I upload it, and YouTube gives me several copyright claims. This shouldn't surprise me, since this happens every time I upload a video. So I go back, change or replace the things that got claimed so I don't get copyright claimed. And one of them, unfortunately, had to be the Kaio breakfast scene, which I really wanted to show the part where she cries, just by itself without any editing, since that's always fun. Yeah. So where was that again? So the part where she's this part. Okay. It's the breakfast scene, which it was my favorite part of the entire show. I just it was one of the best scenes ever. And I really wanted to show it by itself without any editing, but apparently I couldn't even do that. Like, even just a few seconds of her crying with the her voice actress, but like as soon as that part was shown, it just kept getting copyright claimed. And I just thought, like, so long as I'm not showing the entire scene by itself without editing, it's fine. So long as it's just a couple seconds. I couldn't even do that, so I had to, yeah, it's literally the most emotional part of the anime. So I had to, unfortunately, add a little bit of subtle camera shake and some of that camera blur as well. I wanted to make it seem like it was supposed to be like an intentional thing, you know, like how your eyes cloud over and stuff. It still was, and I had to cut like it off short before and like not show the part where you actually hear her crying. Like, this is what I believe. Because I had to adjust the timing and stuff for that as well. And it was slightly less emotional, which sucks, but yeah, and I didn't really have any other choice. I just kind of had to do the best I could while making sure it didn't get copyright claimed. But thankfully for this scene specifically, I anticipated this would happen. So I tested it out way earlier when I first edited it, which was right at the beginning. And I uploaded it to YouTube by itself to see if it got copyright claimed, which it did. So I made all those changes back then, rather than at the last minute when I need to upload the video. So that was some good quick thinking on my part at the time, like thinking ahead. And like, also, so like, there was still a few other things that I needed to fix, like some music choices and like a few small things. Oh, I can see myself hiring thumbnails and even scripts from in my way too laid back and occasionally illiterate for my own good. For me, money is an issue, but I can honestly see virtue in learning how myself. Yeah, it depends on how much creative control you want, to be honest. It's mostly just having to do with, this part, like, I just don't care about this part at all. I don't care what's being said so long as it's like, you know, I could get to do this part. But for me, I'm just like, if like the way I'm saying it is not right, or the words I'm saying is not right, and the way it's been conveyed is not how I intended it to be, no, it's just a big no in my book. So yeah, I did go back through and had to change out a bunch of the music as well, obviously, or maybe make it a bit quieter, so it worked. Which after a bit more like of exporting and checking that again, that did work. Keep in mind, this is still very much under the deadline. I'm on the last, like, I only have a couple hours left before I can upload this. And oh yeah, but also part of me was glad the video got copyright claimed, actually, because I also made, in my rush to get this thing done, I also made a bunch of wonky music choices right near the end and during the rewrite that just didn't work and it didn't sit well with me. But like, you know, I was like, oh my god, I only have I have barely any time left. So, but because of that, because of the copyright claims, I ended up going back and fixing those. So it was actually something that's like, okay, this works. This is good. And I finally managed to settle something that actually worked with me. So now I finally finished the video. I export and upload. There's no copyright this time. The sponsor approves it. I do the title and description and all the tags and all the other upload junk that you gotta do. I announce the video everywhere. And I finally went to sleep at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I stayed up all night just to finish this last part. For several nights, actually. But yeah, it was worth it. You'd expect me to be super tired at this point, trying to go to sleep, because like, yeah, but it was the opposite. I couldn't sleep. My adrenaline was too high from everything that just happened beforehand, me just rushing against the clock, and I also wanted to see how people would react to the video, since a lot of the stuff in my mind was still rushed. There was a lot of stuff where I was just like, this part was pretty janky, nah, whatever, just keep moving on, gotta get the video done. And it was very, a lot of decisions that were made were pretty rushed. But thankfully, people seem to enjoy it. I spent a lot of time talking to you guys on Discord and in the comments about it when it first released. I still couldn't sleep. And I just kept doing that until I finally went, okay, I gotta go to sleep. And I went to sleep early in the morning. But yeah, and the relief from having finally finished this video after several months, like the most amount of time I've ever gone without, I've ever gone working on a video continuously, like just the relief from having finished that was huge. It was just like, oh my god, I can finally breathe. It's actually done for real this time. And it was just, as soon as I hit that post button, it's like, it's done. It's done. And after that, I just gave myself a massive break to give myself a chance to recover, probably for a bit too long. But like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe part of working on this video killed a little bit of my motivation to continue working on videos. That's not good. Just like after how much I went through when I was doing this. Brandon, I need you to get you to make my thumbnails. Alright, sure. If you want to. Funny thing about the recent copyright term updates is that now if the clips only get detected but not even soft blocks, you know what to keep when you revise, and no, they weren't downright hard block. That's nice. I'm not really sure what the rules completely are. I just like upload it and remove whatever it claims, and I'm fine most of the time because of that. I don't think anything's happened after. So yeah, that is the story of how I made the erased video. This you see that there's still a bunch of other junk around here. These are just different drafts of the ad sponsorship segments, because like I did so many different versions of it. I still like the original cut better, but you know, yeah, it was done. And like you'll see there are a bunch of grayed out stuff here That's me going, oh, does this music choice work? No, that doesn't work. Does this one work? Yes, it does. So I blank that out just in case I might end up using it later anyways. So as a result, my timeline becomes a bit of a mess. But yeah, hello weebs. Hello sad weeb. You just came in right as I was about to finish. So yeah, it was still worth it in my opinion. It was 100%. I'm 100% glad that I went through this video. This is probably the biggest thing that I ever worked on or ever did in my life. And yeah, it was just super satisfying. I'm still very satisfied with a bunch of the creative decisions that I made during it. Because it's like, there's only stuff that I figure out while I'm in the middle of doing it. Hey, let's try that. Let's try this thing. Let's try that thing. And that I didn't originally plan. But it's done. Yo, wait, no, don't go. Don't go. Who am I going to have playing background now? I don't know. Put on Trash Taste Podcast or something. Is that the Notaku? Yes, it is the Notaku. How many people are watching this, by the way? I've kept myself from watching the viewer count to keep myself from being discouraged. Oh, okay, 11. So that's not like about the same since the beginning. We sadly can't legally keep him hostage. Yes, indeed. And also, one of the most satisfying things is just zooming out going, wow, look at that timeline. That timeline's huge. It looks big and epic and grand. Look how much work I did on this. Oh. Do you know Australian law? I'm quite sure it's illegal to keep people hostage, Notaku. I don't think it's an Australian thing. I just think that's a thing in general. I jumped once I got you. Okay, and I think that's that. I'm probably going to end the stream now. Keyword was legally, you guys. And yeah, this was really fun. If anyone has any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to answer it. If there's anything that you wanted to find out about for yourself, or anything that you wanted to ask me about, or like explain a bit further, or any advice. If you happen to be a content creator and want like some advice on certain things while making videos as well, then feel free to ask that as well. But yeah, until then, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. Thank you for all of you who showed up, and I will see you guys in the next stream or video. See you guys. Goodbye.